Welcome to Battlesphere, the ultimate arena where legendary clashes and epic showdowns unfold. Subscribe and let the battle begin. The city was calm, bathed in the soft glow of streetlights and neon signs flickering in the distance. Z-City had seen its fair share of destruction, but tonight, an eerie stillness hung in the air. The stars stretched endlessly across the night sky, oblivious of the chaos that was about to unfold below. On the rooftop of an unassuming apartment complex, Saitama stood, hands in his pockets, gazing at the moon with disinterest. His cape rustled gently in the wind. He had defeated countless monsters, annihilated world-ending threats, and sent intergalactic warlords into oblivion, all with a single punch. Yet, despite his unparalleled power, he was bored. The weight of overwhelming strength had left him in an endless cycle of monotony. Villains came and went, but none could provide even the slightest challenge. His battles ended before they could truly begin. Far away, beyond the boundaries of space and time, rupture formed in the very fabric of reality. A swirling vortex of energy, chaotic and unstable, twisted violently as if the universe itself recoiled from the anomaly. The tear widened, glowing an ominous shade of green, and from its depths, a monstrous force was hurled forth. A figure crashed to the portal like a falling meteor, tearing through the atmosphere at unimaginable speed. The sheer force of his descent split the skies, igniting the air around him as he plummeted toward the city below. The impact was devastating. A massive explosion erupted as the figure collided with a towering skyscraper, shattering its foundation in an instant. The force sent shockwaves rippling outward, reducing the surrounding buildings to rubble. A deep tremor shook the city to its core as glass shattered and alarms blared. The dust settled. A shadow loomed in the ruins. Then, with a slow, menacing rise, he emerged, a hulking mass of raw power and fury. His skin glowed a deep green, muscles tense with unimaginable strength. His breath came in ragged huffs, hot and heavy like a wild beast just released from its cage. He stood amidst the destruction, his immense frame dwarfing everything around him. The Hulk had arrived. The disturbance was impossible to ignore. Saitama turned his head toward the direction of the explosion, his expression unreadable. He let out a slow sigh. Another monster attack, perhaps? It had been a while since anything remotely interesting had happened. Maybe, just maybe, this one would last longer than a single punch. Without urgency, he leaped from the rooftop. The wind howled around him as he descended toward the battlefield, landing lightly amidst the ruins, dust swirling at his feet. The Hulk turned his gaze toward the approaching figure, his burning emerald eyes locked on the bald man before him, the presence of another being registering in his primal mind. His instincts screamed fight, as they always did. He had been thrown into endless wars, countless battles, each one demanding he rage harder, grow stronger, survive. It was all he knew, and now before him stood a man who looked painfully ordinary. No armor, no weapons, just a simple yellow jumpsuit and a flowing white cape, unblemished and scathed. Yet something about him was different, unshaken, unafraid, unmoved. A deep growl rumbled in Hulk's throat. His rage boiled over, not because of words, not because of provocation, but because he could feel it. This man, despite his simple appearance, was something beyond comprehension. Then he charged. The very earth shattered beneath his feet, debris and dust exploding outward as he launched forward with devastating force. The air ignited with friction, his massive fist descending like the hammer of an ancient god. The sheer momentum of his strike could have split mountains in half, reduced skyscrapers to dust, sent shockwaves that could be felt for miles. And yet, the punch connected squarely against Saitama's head. The resulting impact was cataclysmic. A deafening boom rang through the air, a force unlike anything the city had ever experienced. A shockwave rippled outward in all directions, collapsing what remained of the nearby buildings. The pavement beneath them caved in, splitting apart like fragile glass. The sheer magnitude of the force sent hurricane-level winds howling through the streets, overturning cars and uprooting trees. The explosion of force shrouded the battlefield in dust and debris, an impenetrable cloud swirling in the aftermath of the monstrous collision. For a moment, silence. Then, As the dust began to settle, a figure stood motionless in chaos. Unharmed, unshaken, unimpressed, Saitama slowly blinked. That was it. The Hulk staggered back, his fist still extended, his massive chest heaving. Disbelief flickered across his monstrous face. He had fought gods, torn through entire legions, crushed celestial beings beneath his hands. And yet, this man didn't even flinch. Hulk's breathing grew heavier. He had expected devastation, obliteration, but instead, he was faced with something impossible. The truth began to dawn upon him, an unsettling realization, creeping into his mind like a foreign poison. He threw another punch, then another. Each one carried immeasurable force, enough to crater mountains, rip open the heavens themselves. Yet none found their mark. Saitama moved effortlessly, dodging with nothing more than slight shifts of his head. The ground trembled with each missed strike, entire blocks collapsing into the abyss as the battle escalated into a war of unparalleled destruction. And yet, he remained unbothered. The Hulk's rage intensified, his muscles bulging, his power rising exponentially. The angrier he became, the stronger he got. He would not lose. Saitama clenched his fists, his heartbeat steady. But for the first time in his life, he felt resistance. A battle that was not already won before it had begun. Saitama launched himself forward, a blur of motion. His punch came like a meteor, splitting the air. Hulk met him head-on. A cataclysmic eruption of force exploded outward, the ground giving way beneath them, sending shockwaves across the land. The battle was no longer one-sided. This was a war of endurance, of raw power, of limitless destruction. For every punch Saitama landed, Hulk answered. For every crater Saitama carved in the battlefield, Hulk filled it with his monstrous rage. Every strike, every clash, only made the Titan stronger. His massive hand lashed out, gripping Saitama by the skull. With an earth-shattering roar, he slammed him into the ground. He smashed Saitama again and again, each strike carving deeper into the battlefield, sending waves of energy surging through the broken city. The earth itself cracked open, molten rock spewing forth in the sheer force. Saitama tried to break free. He swung, but Hulk was beyond strength now. He was an unstoppable force of nature, a being whose power had transcended the limits of mortal comprehension. And then, with a final monstrous bellow, Hulk launched Saitama into the sky. The bald hero shot upward, his body breaking through the atmosphere, his form disappearing into the endless void of space. The silence that followed was deafening. Hulk stood alone in the ruins of what was once a great city, his massive chest heaved, his skin still burning with energy. He had done what no one else had. He had faced the unbeatable, and won, above the shattered battlefield. The stars flickered coldly, and the universe bore witness to the moment the Titan had triumphed over the one-punch man. The battle was over. Hulk was victorious,